Welcome to the You're Not Crazy podcast, hosted by Jessica Knight, a certified life coach who specializes in healing from narcissistic and emotional abuse. This podcast is intended to help you identify manipulative and abusive behavior, set boundaries with yourself and others, and heal the relationship with yourself so you can learn to love in a healthy way. You can connect with Jessica and find additional resources, content, and coaching at emotionalabusecoach.com.
Hi, everybody. This is going to be a bit of a different episode. This is really just more of a here's how to work with me and here's some announcements type of episode. And so if you listen to this or if you work with me or if you're a consistent client, probably not the episode that you need to listen to because you know where to find all these things. But if you are new, if you are curious, if you are wondering how to work with me or what I do outside of it, this episode's for you. I'm also going to link this to my website. So if you are listening to it directly from my website, this is intended to kind of just go over the things that I do. And so I want to start with something. And so I'm excited to share that starting next week, you'll start to see new divorce-focused episodes on the podcast. As you know, I do have them. This podcast is mostly about healing from emotional, narcissistic abuse, cluster B disorders, and divorce. But I'm putting out some more divorce-focused content because truthfully, it's 50% of my work. There's so much nuance to high conflict divorce and to individual cases that putting together these episodes, not only does it take more time, but it also there's so much around it and like so many clarifications. And so it takes me a bit longer to get those together, but I have a few that I'm going to start rolling out. And on the weeks when I can't put a divorce episode out, I'll have another episode for you each week. And so those will be released on Wednesdays and Fridays moving forward. I'm excited to be able to offer a second offering. It's been something I've been wanting to do for a long time because I love the podcast space. I appreciate everyone that listens to the podcast. As I've mentioned before, I record the podcast when I can. I have one weekend without my daughter. So as you can imagine, I'm probably exhausted that weekend, but I also try and put in as much as I can. So I try and record those episodes or batch record some of them at that time. And so if the second one falls off over time, please forgive me. This is my intention. And I wanted to share that with you so you see it when it starts coming out. I also want to take a few minutes to lay out everything I'm offering right now so you know exactly where you can get the support that you need. Aside from this podcast that you're listening to, I have a Substack where I publish weekly writing. And as of right now and for 2025, it's been about one post a day, with the exception of weekends for all of 2025. And I've gone through various categories and monthly categories for all of 2025. When we get to 2026, it will probably be every other day, which will cut down the writing that I need to do in half. But those are also something that I do. You know, I keep a running list of topics that have come up, questions that I'm asked. And when I can, I go through and I write the content. I also take content from my own life and things that I've experienced and things that I've put together because healing is not linear. Healing is a journey. And the reason I do this work is because I lived it and I've lived it more than once. And so my content is about that. And it is about personal reflections, deep dives on abusive dynamics and resources for survivors and parents. And so there is a free option and there's also a paid option. The paid option allows you to ask questions every month if you choose to that I answer on a podcast. And what I typically do is I'll go through it. I'll answer. Some questions are super loaded and like that maybe other people's questions are looped in. So I do my best to answer between like 3 and 5 in a longer episode. And I share that. I also have self-paced online courses hosted on Thinkific, which is it's kind of like a Kajabi, if you know what that is. It's an online hosting website. You can find my courses if you go click on courses on either of my websites, emotionalabusecoach.com or high-conflictdivorcecoaching.com. I have courses on understanding emotional abuse and healing from it, setting boundaries with abusers, high conflict divorce, how to document for family court, and Unhooked, which is about breaking the cycle of abuse and understanding your cycle of abuse. They're designed to be strategies that you can revisit at any time and that can like help you get processes going. And so it's not a substitute. It's not for personal work, whether you work with me as a coach or if you work with a therapist or another coach, it is a complement to it. And so, Unhooked is probably the one that I have. It's the newest one, but I'm still recording more content to add to it because that's one that I think if there's one thing that helped me, it was understanding and seeing my place in the cycle of abuse over time. All of that to say is also that this podcast is my free offering. Sometimes people will reach out and say, do you do pro bono coaching? Do you do free coaching? At this point, I have 2 sliding scale spots. They are both taken right now. And those people, they work with me during a specific period of time and have specific circumstances. I don't do free coaching right now because I am a single parent and I can't. And that's really my answer, is that if I could, or if the business or the podcast or my work in some way gets to a place that I can, I will. But I don't make money from the podcast. It is a free offering. There are many thousands of downloads to each episode. I'm so grateful that it resonates with so many people. But just because it's a successful podcast doesn't mean it generates income. And so as much as I would like to do free work, and I've done tons of free work over, I guess, my coaching journey, I currently am only offering sliding scale offerings. And those are limited because my client load is quite large right now. And the one-on-one work is the work that I love. And it is really, I think, my greatest strength as a coach is because I think with a lot of emotional abuse, narcissistic abuse, high conflict divorce, group coaching, group whatever, doesn't feel that good. It feels like maybe we can't all fit in one box because we have different things that we are working through in different times. And so I want to do one-on-one coaching for as long as possible. There's no part of me that wants to stop anytime soon by any stretch of the imagination. And so if you're wondering like why or if, or it's like at the end of the day, I'm a single parent, solely responsible for my kid. I'd love to have more free offerings. It's not what I can do right now. And if I can, I will. But if you ever would like to be on the sliding scale wait list, you can always reach out to me and I can add you. It is a little long right now. So if you need immediate support, it's not the right fit. I understand that coaching is expensive. I have paid and I still pay for coaching because it's a modality that really works for me. And it has helped me since I've been literally 20 years old. So if coaching is something that you're like, I don't even know if this will be the right fit, I always invite you to schedule an intro call with me. Right now, I had to pare down when I'm doing them. So I'm doing them on Mondays and Wednesdays. But if you reach out to me and like you cannot find a time that works, just ask me and I'll tell you what I have open because I have other times open. Sometimes people look at my online schedule and they'll say, but you have nothing available. I have times that are not listed online. It would be really irresponsible for me to have every single time I'm open listed online because then my reoccurring clients wouldn't be able to have their times. So things do change, things shift, so you could always reach out to me at jessica@jessicaknightcoaching.com and ask if there's a time available. And I'm happy to help. And I'm happy to try and fit people in. I think if you've ever emailed with me, I really do try and figure it out and work it out. On that note, I do want to clarify some things about coaching. And so clarity calls are usually 20 minutes. And if you've listened to past episodes of mine, you may have heard free intro call. It's no longer a free intro call. 3 years ago, it was still free. Now it's $25. That's mostly because there was a lot of calls that I would be booked. The person wouldn't show up for the call. And then it would take the time away from somebody that did need or want the call. And so I deduct the $25 from your first full coaching session if you choose to work with me. But that's a quick way to get a question answered and to see if we're a good fit to work together. That's what that call is designed for, to see what is going on for you and are we a good fit to proceed, and does everything align? Validation call is a longer session where we dive into your situation. And it is more like a one-off call. It's one of those offerings that if you have never worked with me before and you're like, I really just need clarity. And like, so we have an hour, I ask questions before, and I really go into it with like, let's deep dive your situation. Because my goal is to help you get as much clarity as you need in that moment. And the same scheduling thing applies for these calls as it does for the intro. I have times available. If a time online doesn't work for you, you always can ask me at jessica@jessicanightcoaching.com. I'm happy. And I do, like I said, have more times available. I have many consistent clients. And so when those clients move things around, times open up, and then I can see what I can do. But that's really like a one-off offering, and it's always available. If you want to do a one-off and then work with me later, that's always an option. And sometimes people want to do that and then have a little bit of an intro, of like, what would this look like moving forward? And I'm happy to do that. Ongoing coaching is my bread and butter of my business. It's for those who want regular support. I offer ongoing coaching packages, and I also do one-off sessions. And the one-off sessions are usually people book with me every week or every 2 weeks. The session we have together, they include a very deep discovery session where we're unpacking a lot of the patterns. There's support in between calls. I review your documents if this is a high conflict divorce situation, and I work with you on strategy. I read emails. It really is more like having somebody on your team as like your support person, whether it is you're healing from a trauma bond abuse, trying to leave a relationship, trying to understand what's going on in your relationship, trying to see if you could stay in your relationship, or if you're in the divorce. It's whatever stage of divorce you're in, I'm happy to help and to share what that looks like. It's not just me sitting down, validating you and telling you everything you're doing right. A lot of times, maybe 50% of the times, like I am working with you on the strategy so that we can start aligning, what you're doing and what you're wanting. And I can pull out some pieces of like, maybe this isn't working, or maybe this isn't working, or maybe your lawyer is not hearing you. Like there's so many different ways that this comes together. The other thing is that by having that relationship and by me learning about you, learning about the situation, I really can help you begin to move forward. Because, and I don't say this lightly, and I don't say this to pat myself on the back. It's not who I am. I'm saying this because I mean it, but I'm really committed to helping you break your trauma bond. I'm really committed to helping you move forward. And I know how hard it is because I've lived it. I've lived it more than once. And I do feel like I have a lot of understanding, and I really listen, because that's the coaching modality I got trained in, is really and truly listening to what you're saying, what you're not saying, to help you begin to unravel and break your trauma bond. And maybe it will be uncomfortable and it will be painful, but I want to help you. And if you are stuck, you can reach out to me. I have been hesitant to put up a wait list for a really long time, even though that's where the business is. Where I am right now is if we can't figure out a time, then we kind of have to hold off until it can work. I try and figure it out. If somebody is really wanting to work with me, I am flexible with my schedule. I work a lot because I love what I do and I want to help you. And so if that's you, and if we can make it work, I usually always make it work. At one point, since this will be up on the podcast, you might hear me say something like, well, now we're at a wait list. I'm at capacity. If you go and look, if whenever that point comes, you still can feel free to reach out to me and see if there's anything I can do to move things around. But honestly, I could put a wait list up right now. I guess I'm very sensitive to the fact that these situations are life altering and very challenging. I'm not at that place yet. I do try and engage with almost everybody to see where things are at and if it's a good fit. With all that said, I do want to share that I do get emails from people. I love hearing from you. I love hearing what has helped and what has not helped. I love hearing what resonates. But sometimes I get emails where people are asking me to weigh in on their divorce or weigh in on a situation without me having really any context. And I will say this, it'd be really irresponsible for me to do that. The reason for that is that I don't know anything about your situation. The reason I can weigh in on my clients' divorces, my clients' issues is because I've worked with them and I understand and I've seen a lot and I've seen the breadth of it. It's like I've seen the cumulative effect of these things. When somebody reaches out to me and they say, would you say that this is narcissistic? Super irresponsible for me to respond to that in like a really detailed way. It's also very irresponsible for me to weigh in on your divorce if I haven't worked with you and if we haven't done background. And so, like I say, you always can reach out to me, and that is true. But I'm not going to give out advice for something I am not informed on or give feedback on something. And like, that's usually what my response says. And so, there's a value to, even if it's not me, signing up and committing to working with somebody, because then you can get some of that personalized support. It's really not personalized support if I don't know you. It's just it's like I said, it could be really irresponsible, especially when it comes with divorce. I will not put you down a path that you shouldn't be on, and that I will not weigh in on something if I don't have the detail. So that might come across a little blunt or a little crass, but honestly, I wouldn't want someone to do it to me. I wouldn't want to email someone and say, here's what's gone on. What do you think? Because they've never lived a day in my shoes. They don't know the situation. And in all of these situations, the nuance matters. All of the links are on my website and they're in the show notes below. And so there's my Substack, my courses, my coaching options, and my websites, highconflictdivorcecoaching.com and emotionalabusecoach.com. And whether you're here for ongoing support, one-off guidance, or just a place to see if this is the right thing for you, I really want to thank you for being here. And if you have any questions, like I said, you can reach out to me at jessica@jessicaknightcoaching.com. I rarely check my Instagram messages because mixed in with a lot of spam, there are sometimes messages, but then there's more spam. I do it about once a week. So if you're reaching out to me there, it's not the best place. Email is the better place to reach out to me. I usually get back to everybody within a week. I hope that this was helpful and I hope that it was clarifying. And I look forward to continuing to work with you.